I'm thinking about what they said about the bad gas. It's possible that I have bad gas. Hey Trippers, this is Trippin Traci. Today's trip brings us to a tour of St. Augustine. We're at the trolley depot and also the old jail. Trip with me. It's so cold. I want to get out of these blankets. It's almost 8 o'clock though. I'm at Cracker Barrel. I just turned the van on and put the heater on. I'm trying to organize a little bit this morning too because I still have too much stuff in here. This area right here by the door, I need to put something here that will hold shoes. I need something for my shoes. If you have any suggestions, let me know. When I was driving from the back to the front of Cracker Barrel, I heard a bad noise. And I really want to ignore it. I really just want to keep going, but I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to. I did hear it in Orlando, but I just thought, you know, I'm just hearing things, and it wasn't as loud. I think I'm going to have to go somewhere today. And unfortunately, I have a ticket that I already purchased for a tour, so maybe what I'm going, oh, there's a Discount Tire right there. That is awesome. Discount Tire was obviously no longer in operation. So I am heading to Firestone. I just talked to a gentleman there. His name is Joe, and told him what was happening. And he said he can get me in pretty promptly. I pulled over so I could film these beautiful trees. I'm right near the Fountain of Youth. I'm trying to find Firestone. But I just wanted you to see these trees. They're gorgeous. Here we are at the shop again. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Great news. They think it's bad gas causing the noise, so I am on my way to the tour. I'm supposed to put that in, put good gas in, and do it again the next time I fill it up. Show you a little bit of the jail I went to last night. All right, now we are going to tour the old museum. They have a very cool store in here before you go to the museum. Lots of souvenirs. You can get lunch here. You can get a hot dog or a hamburger, pulled pork sandwich, chicken. I got 2 sugar cookies.
Certainly look good, that's for sure.
This is the front of the museum. So we scan our ticket to enter. Well, it opened. When Pedro Menendez arrived in 1565 and founded St. Augustine, the Timucua greeted him and his estimated 800 travelers. Franciscan priests traveled around Florida to establish missions aimed to convert the Timucua and other natives to Catholicism. Eventually, the Timucua population crashed. Oh, kitty, kitty. Did I dare?
But the swift ship of the privateers overtakes the guy. Yet another foe waits quietly.
Oh yeah,
The
that's heavy.
seas are calm and clear, and pirates and storms.
Spain's attempts to colonize the interior of Florida were abandoned by the early 1700s. Spanish colonists retreated to the fortress towns of St. Augustine and Pensacola, or departed for their Caribbean holdings in Cuba and Hispaniola, leaving behind massive herds of Andalusian cattle, an ancestor of today's modern Texas Longhorn. The cattle drove Florida's economy for much of the 19th century and helped create today's state economy. To a Florida native, being called a cracker is a compliment. It recalls the grit and tenacity of laboring cowboys who came generations before them, from which the nickname Florida Cracker is derived. These bullwhip-toting ancestors shaped the landscape, history, and economy that make Florida what it is today. No guns, no spitting, no cussing. Look at this. It's impressive. Someone who works here just told me this guy's taken. Help, send help, send help. Got my sticker. That's what they look for when you get on the trolley.
There's no smoking, no vaping, and no consumption of alcohol on the trolley. And please keep all personal and cell conversations to a minimum so everybody can enjoy the tour. Now you cannot talk about the history of St. Augustine without talking about a man by the name of Ponce de Leon. Now, Ponce de Leon was at one time the first mate to Christopher Columbus. But that didn't stop him, folks. Once he landed here, he headed north and he took Fort Caroline easily.
I love the architecture on this hotel.
Our Catholics will really convert to Catholicism. Well, 100 of them said, sure, we'll convert. So they were set aside. Now, right here on our right is Potter's Legend.
We toured this historic location last night on our ghost tour. I'll put a link above. You'll notice in this video, as well as my ghost tour video, that many of the businesses still have their lights on display for their nights of light. The old city gates of St. Augustine are a surviving part of the walls that once surrounded the nation's oldest city. Constructed of coquina in 1808, it was built at the time of the last reconstruction of the Cubo line. The gate opens onto the northern end of St. George Street, which leads through the heart of the old city.
Now, right across the street from my trolley is our port here now. That is the Castillo de San Marcos.
Built by the Spanish in St. Augustine to defend Florida and the Atlantic trade route, Castillo de San Marcos National Monument preserves the oldest masonry fortification in the continental United States and interprets more than 450 years of cultural intersections. Made from coquina, this fortress once withstood siege against British forces and combated pirate raiding.
I want to take this trolley right down High College Street.
Spanish builders made these streets narrow to funnel cool air from the bay into the inner city.
Before they built the second floor, they always built a balcony up there so folks can come out and cool off. This is our stop number 7, High College and 8th floor. You can exit on either side of the trolley at this stop. And this is your best stop. Just grab a bite to eat and love your restaurant. Love your restaurant, have fantastic, excellent seafood sandwiches.
I've eaten at the Columbia several times and it's always been very good.
It is also the very first masonry church built in the state of Florida. Now you'll notice there is a beautiful tower and steeple, but there's no bell in that tower. That was one stipulation Henry Flagler put on their church. They couldn't have a bell because Henry Flagler was building his own church right down the street, and he did not want their bell to interfere with his bell.
The architecture throughout this city is truly amazing. Built in 1889 and dedicated in March 1890, Memorial Presbyterian Church stands as a memorial to Henry Flagler's beloved daughter, Jenny Louise.
Way ahead of its time, it had running water and electricity in every single room. Now, that hotel is now Flagler College right here on the right-hand side of my trolley. But when this was a hotel, it was incredible. And there was one little problem with electricity that even Henry Flagler could not have anticipated. You see, electricity was such a new thing at that time that many of his guests were terrified to even touch the light switches. If you're a sitting resident, you can stay here as often as you'd like for free. And there were 5 presidents that took Henry Flagler up on that offer. The last president Lyndon Johnson in 1964. That is the Villa Zareta. It was Franklin Smith's winter home right here in St. Augustine. Now, it is no longer a winter home for anybody. That building has been turned into a museum. It is a Villa Zareta Museum. Now we're going to do a lap around our plaza, folks. As we do, take a look up and to your left. There's a life-size statue of Ponce de Leon. He stands a whopping 4 feet 11 inches tall. Now, with the feathered his cap and heels on his shoes, he comes out to about 5'5". Now, some historians say that is how the Spanish measured their soldiers back at that time. But it's no worry, folks. Don't feel bad for Ponce de Leon for being short. Remember, in the 1500s, the average height of a Spanish man was between 4'6" and 4'10". That used to be the jail here in town. Henry Flagler hated that jail. You see, he charged $9,000 a stay in that hotel. He thought it was terrible that his guests shouldn't have to live in the same neighborhood as the nasty old jail. So he went to the city on several occasions and he asked them to move the jail. And the response he got was always the same: there's no money in the budget to move the jail. So Henry Flagler went down to his bank, grabbed 2 big old bags of cash, came back to City Hall, bought that money right down on the city clerk's desk. Now, the oldest house is an excellent example of the difference in architecture between the Spanish and the British. The first half of the house was built by the Spanish and built out of coquina. Well, then later on, the British showed up and they built the second floor. It's all made out of wood. And this is, if you have time while you're here, an excellent tour of the oldest house. You could actually order an entire house in the Sears and Roebuck catalog, everything you needed to build your home would come by train. All you had to do was put it together. That is our drawbridge here in town. That is the Bridge of Lions. Built in 1927. Now, in 1928, actually, get ahead of myself. That bridge was originally called Anastasia Bridge, or something called the Kansas River Bridge. But it doesn't matter, folks, that name only lasted for a year. Because in 1928, those 2 lions at the base of the bridge showed up. They were donated by Dr. Andrew Anderson Jr., Henry Flagler's personal physician, and the mayor of St. Augustine at the time. Now, on our right is that bay, and kind of the marina. The Kansas Bay and Marina are the oldest continuously operated bay and marina in the country.
One of my favorite things to do is explore forts, so I'll definitely return to St. Augustine to visit the Castillo de San Marcos. Ripley's Believe It or Not is also at the top of my list of things to do when I return to St. Augustine.
He thought he might build himself a museum, but then he spent one night in this hotel and realized this was the only building suitable for his bizarre collection. So he made an offer to buy, and this Molly very politely refused. Well, every time he stayed here, he made an offer. Every week, the number in the Dios mission, home to Our Lady de la Leche Shrine, which is located right across that bridge to the left. Now, that shrine is dedicated to women who are pregnant or want to become pregnant. And there might be some husbands on board that might forbid their wives to cross that bridge. And this is probably one of the most peaceful places in town. And there's almost always a cool breeze that comes off the ocean. Also, one of the most photographed streets in the country. And guess what? There's no Magnolia Streets on Magnolia Street. There used to be, but they were all destroyed in a hurricane some years ago. But I guess that's why they call it Resurrection Fern, because it comes back to life. Now this is our stop number 22, the Fountain of Youth. But this is also the very first location of the city of St. Augustine. This is where Pedro Menendez landed when he first landed here in 1565. And there's a live archaeological thing going on, even as we speak, unearthing artifacts from that era.
Oh, okay.
Now if you're going to spend spend some time here, folks. I plan on spending at least an hour here, even a couple hours or more, because there's lots to do. There's lots of exhibits. And this is our stop number 1, the Old Jail. Now, folks, you're more than welcome to stay right on this trolley. Continue on with the tour. However, you will get a new driver. Here's my break time. Now, if you're exiting at the stop number 1, please exit only on the left-hand side.
Spooky. I have to go back to the van and charge my cell phone. It is almost dead. I'm just gonna sit in here for a little while and figure out what I'm gonna do next. I'm exhausted, really tired. I didn't sleep much last night because it was so cold. Everybody was already, in their spots, and it looked like people were already asleep. I didn't hear any movement or anything. So I didn't want to make any noise, so I just put my bed down and went to sleep and didn't get my electric blanket out, which was a mistake because it was really cold. I'm going to head over to Cracker Barrel again and rest for the night. And then tomorrow I'm heading to Florida Cavern State Park, and I'm really looking forward to going to the caverns. So I want to save up my energy for that as well. Headed into Cracker Barrel for some yummy food. I got the southern fried chicken dinner with okra, hash brown casserole, and biscuits.
How's everything tasting so far?
I feel much better. Makeup's off. I'm in my cozy clothes. Got my electric blanket ready. I put extra socks on. I think I'm good to go for the night. I got a Gator Bob sticker. And a ghost and gravestone sticker. I got a chunky. Nut. That concludes our tour of St. Augustine. I hope you enjoyed it. I did, and I'm probably going to visit some of the museums that I saw along the way. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. That helps me out on YouTube. And don't forget, subscribe if you haven't already. And with that, I will bid you adieu and to stay trippy.